Start by acknowledging we're on the traditional territory of the Sikas First Nation. And it's on their land. We live, work, and play every day. There's an agenda in front of you. Is there any additions or deletions on the agenda? Yes.
Just want to change the 8.1 Council of Forest Industries to Community Forest AGM. Same thing. We're trying to do the same thing. Just a different.
Up on the other side of the fence, eh?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Any other? Seeing that, motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Great. Okay, you have this September 26th regular meeting. Can we have a motion to have those minutes adopted?
So moved.
Any discussion? Any errors, omissions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we're now into bylaws. Nothing, there's no public comments, there's no delegations, there are no public comments on items not on the agenda during election day. Am I right here, Lee?
Correct.
I like you know I'm batting 100% right now.
Not wrong. That will change.
CEO reports, permissive tax exemption.
Thank you, Mayor. For my first report tonight, the recommendation is to give first, second, and third reading to the draft permissive tax exemption bylaw as presented. If council has any questions, our chief financial officer is here to speak to the report and the bylaw.
I'll move that we give first, second, and third reading to permissive tax exemption bylaw 1249, 2022.
Second that.
I have a question. I received some concerns today just as I was coming here, but I haven't had a chance to talk to you, Margaret, about them. And I'm not sure exactly who they were all from because I didn't get a chance to read the long text or email for Fred.
So I was looped into that one. So
What's that?
yeah, I did get that email.
You
as
got,
well.
well, I know you responded
Yeah.
halfway through.
And the individual did come see me. So it was a question of some properties that they thought should be on the permissive tax exemption bylaw, but I had never received applications to bring to council for approval of those. Also bringing them today is a little late. We're into the process. It needs to go to BC assessment. So I've told them I now have those two properties that I can bring back to council for consideration for the next permissive tax exemption bylaw. Any applications per our bylaw would have had to have been to us by May 31st.
So
Any requests?
can I just ask a question? Did they? Oh, maybe you're not the person asked. That's probably the next council. But that's a big question to me is like all the properties we have here today, none of them are vacant, are they?
Yes, they are. So there's the Ducks Unlimited properties that are the wetlands that are vacant. There's also one piece of vacant land belonging to the fisheries for what's going to be the new fish pond. So there are vacant properties on there. There's a lot of vacant property that has been exempted for the Nechako Valley Sporting Association. There's different ones on there.
But they're being used for their intention, their purpose.
Yes. Except for maybe the fisheries one, which is not yet.
Your thought is that it's a piece of land right beside us that's vacant, that it's permissive. I think you're right. These all have a use, and we look at that each year, right? Whether it's got the use on it or not.
Yeah.
For the community.
Well, and that is not just being held.
Yeah.
You know, like to me, if we're going to give a permissive tax exemption, you know, it should be something that's, you know, being actively used.
And when I bring that forwards, that will be one of the decisions that council will make, the council at the time, if they want to exempt that property or not. We'll also bring forward all the other scenarios that were discussed, which is excluding land from the permissive tax exemption was one of them. Scenarios.
Yeah, I think the next council has to decide based on how it benefits the community. So if it's vacant and that somehow benefits the community because it's an investment for the future in terms of some other building, I'm okay with that. But the idea that something can sit there and not benefit the rest of the community, why should they get a tax exemption? So anyway.
I think there has to be a time period that's used,
Like a plan is shown.
to give the, like, for instance, the fishery one, it's vacant. Now, all of a sudden next year, if they aren't building the pond on it, you know, then the thing is, I would feel differently. You know, it has to be something that's actively. Hey, any other questions? Sorry about that. I should have come in here and just see you right away. So it was just like I was driving on the way here.
I was prepared, and I was going to mention that there were 2 late applications, but it's too far into this year.
That's very late.
Yeah. All in favor? Opposed? Carries. Okay, the next one is the building report.
This item is being presented for information. There are only 2 applications received in September 2022, one for a sign, one for a pellet stove.
Oh, like, there seems to be a lot of work, a lot of groundwork being done on one piece of property, but nothing is coming.
Right now, there's no building permit registered on file for the property on Recreation Drive that has site works being done. Until the point that footings are being poured, there's no building permit required based on my knowledge of the BC Building Code. I've also confirmed with the building inspectors out of the regional district that there is one application for that property, but no permit issued.
There is an application.
Yes, this application was filed in, I believe, 2021 for 2 multifamily units. Or sorry, 4 multifamily dwelling, 2 4-unit dwelling units.
Access is that off Recreation Drive or coming off? We move the cars back and just make their own driveway up there.
So currently that property is accessed off of Recreation Drive. At the point of a building permit, the question of property access does have to be dealt with. I don't know if there is an access permit for that property to permit them to have a driveway on Recreation Drive.
Equipment's coming up for us on the far right. Camp that's up there, the camp building. So whoever owns that and Silver Mill, that's where the big equipment's coming up.
Of all the work that's.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I went up there and walked through it. My,
Lots of sand.
oh, I tell you what, me and my Tonka trucks could have been there for a lifetime. Yes.
So Gerald, I had emailed you about this, but I'll just ask. I had a question at our last housing committee about what was happening with the development on Hargreaves, like that to go ahead. So do you know what is on our end, what status, like where are we at with that? Have any applications come in for further permits needed to continue with development, or what's?
On that file, I can't speak too much to it in public, just because right now under FOIPA, the application documents are subject to exception from disclosure.
Okay.
Right now, the application is at the status of a preliminary layout approval where the subdivision in concept has been approved.
Right.
And then there are conditions issued to any developer to satisfy the approving officer that they've complied with the district's bylaws and the Land Titles Act to get their subdivision.
Okay.
One of those things includes finalizing any on-site servicing that needs to be provided. So any sewer, water, electrical, anything like that, that would be required under a servicing bylaw. Other matters include things like a final subdivision application and proof from, in the case of a rural subdivision, proof that the Northern Health Authority has reviewed and approved the proposed method of delivery for on-site water and sewer. So that's generally what what would be required for rural, but not necessarily urban.
So there's no holdup really as far as we're concerned.
Correct. At this point, the developer is in the process of removing, for lack of a better term, subjects
Okay,
to their subdivision.
okay, perfect. Thank you.
Subjects or conditions?
Conditions.
Okay,
Guy sells houses.
nothing more on the building permit? Okay, August monthly expenses, and this has been updated.
Mr. Maritime.
I know the old file is apparently up on Facebook. You know, would either the corporate officer or the CFO care to just speak on it, just for clarification?
The items that were on the expense report have been previously approved by council. So they were travel expenses for a project that was funded by the provincial government. So they had already been approved and disclosed through the check listing. They did not need to go on this report as well. So they were double reported. So it's already been dealt with.
Any questions on that? Item number 8.1, community forests.
Strange that the Community Forest Association of BC would hold its AGM 4 days after an election, but it is so. I tend to think with the tabular rate being the biggest topic at this year's AGM, that I would propose a motion that any of the successful candidates after Saturday, out of those, one of us should attend. Well, it's short notice, but I think we need to be there too.
I'm just trying to remember where and when. It's on
19th to the 21st, so next Wednesday to Friday,
and where?
the cusp. It's 10 and a half hours from here, so it's not easy, but, and if we don't go, we don't go, but I would propose that one of the remaining successful members of council go. And then we'll make that decision on Monday.
Can you go?
I could. The issue is that tabular rates, what I'm hearing is that they might go from $4 to $20. That takes $15 a cubic meter out of this community's pocket. And if we harvest 30,000 cubic meters, you know, it's a lot of money.
450,000.
Yeah, $450,000 out of our pocket. So we've, the CFO and I have submitted some stuff from Eric Anderson on what our cut was this year, what our cut is next year, and a proposed cut for the following year, because they want to follow what that means to communities. So,
I agree with you, and I think this is really important. This is a huge investment that we have here, and it could take away quite easily, you know, significant part of what we've got. You know, like win or lose, would you commit to going to it? Like, I guess to me is, I don't want to register somebody and do that, and I just think that this is so important, you know, for what we're doing.
yeah, I agree with that. I think it is important. It's weird that it's in Cusp.
Yeah.
Where's the closest flight to it?
Kelowna, Kelowna, and then you go up and over.
Or is that? You might as well,
No,
you
yeah,
might as well drive.
if
You might as well drive.
If I go, I'm driving. So
Are we looking for a motion?
I moved that one of us should go, so
Well, how
as long as
about,
that's.
I think,
I think it should be Brian.
yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Okay, we have a mover and a second, Kevin
I'll
and
second it.
Councilor Wheatrick, Councilor Loser. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, correspondence. Chaco waste reduction letters. I don't know if there's anything that we can do on this. As I read this, not sure if you want to see some interesting reading, encourage each of you to go to the RD minutes this coming week. It's on tipping fees. Okay. It will be one of the most significant changes that will happen, and it will also change what happens here, because it will be the thing that changes our services for our waste garbage. So they say, if you got something, please. As far as I know, we're the only RD in BC that doesn't have tipping fees.
Yeah.
Years ago, we got onto there. Crime stats. Any comments, questions? Some of you there when we had the meeting, which was a follow-up to UBCM, the RCMP building here. And, yeah, that's going to be the next council will need to be willing to push that. Electoral Boundaries Commission. What's your sense in that? We should do at this point with that. In that, it looks to me like there's no change here.
No
Are we
change
better
here.
to say something? Joe, what's your thought?
So through the mayor to council, whether to provide comment is, of course, a decision of council. As you're all aware, the Nechako Lakes riding did not change its boundaries, along with, I believe, 4 other northern ridings. If council did want to provide comment, it could be comment on the report generally for its decision province-wide, or it could be a comment just saying that council has received and reviewed the report. Otherwise, I would suggest that no comment would be just as effective.
I agree with no comment. We submitted the first time, said leave the riding alone. They left it alone. To put it in perspective, north of 100 Mile House, there are 10, so the top 2/3 of the province, there are 10 ridings. There are 10 in Surrey. So they've added two more in Surrey. So 10 in the city of Surrey and 10 in the top 2/3 of the province. It's nuts, but happy that they left our riding alone.
Beer garden request.
I'll move the recommendation.
Second.
Question? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. I'd like to adjourn to go on camera. And that to be closed to the public pursuant to 91B, C, E, I, and K of the community charter to discuss negotiations with other levels of government, labor relations, and legal advice, negotiations pertaining to new municipal service, and all other persons other than mayor, councilors, and pertinent staff be excluded.
Just one note, 91B and the resolution does need to be changed to 92B. As a matter relating to negotiations with other levels of government.
Thank you.
Move to go on camera.
Oh, you printed it?
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that.
Carried.